They say the lake is a place of peace, a place to escape the noise, the stress, the chaos of the world. But the night Karen from the HOA barged into my cabin piece was the last thing on her mind. What she didn't know, though, was that she had just walked straight into a trap that would end her reign of terror once and for all. See, I had only just moved into this lake cabin, a family place passed down from my grandfather, and I was eager to breathe the clean mountain air again. But no sooner had I unpacked my bags than the HOA came knocking. They claimed they controlled the lake, that my cabin was technically within their jurisdiction, and that if I wanted to stay, I had to pay thousands in fees and follow their ridiculous rules. I laughed. This cabin had been here decades before the HOA even existed. My family had the deed to prove it. But you know what happens when you laugh in the face of a power-hungry Karen? You paint a target on your back? The threats began small, notes stuffed under my door, anonymous complaints about noise even though I hadn't even had my TV set up. And then came the visit's HOA board members demanding I hand over access to my dock, insisting I wasn't allowed to fish without their approval. But Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA, she wasn't satisfied with intimidation. She wanted a scene. She wanted me broken. And that's when I made a choice. If Karen was going to keep coming for me, I needed someone with more power than she could ever dream of. So one evening, while the sun set over the lake and the sky burned orange, I invited a special guest to my cabin, someone who understood the law, someone Karen could never bully. The state attorney general. We sat inside by the fire, sipping coffee, going over the mountain of harassment I had documented. Photos, letters, threats, all of it, carefully collected, and that's when it happened. The door slammed open with a violent crash. Karen stormed in, eyes blazing, pointing her finger at me like she owned the world. "You don't belong here," she shrieked. "This is HOA property now. I told you you'll regret ignoring me." She was so blinded by her rage, so drunk on her imagined power. She didn't even notice the man sitting across from me, calm/silent, watching. The Attorney General leaned back in his chair, folded his arms, and with the coldest, sharpest tone I've ever heard, said, "Ma'am, I think you're the one who doesn't belong here." Karen froze. The color drained from her face. She stammered, trying to backtrack, but the Attorney General was already on his feet, presenting his badge. What followed was a dismantling unlike anything I'd ever witnessed. He read out the long list of violations the HOA had racked up under Karen's leadership: illegal fines, fraudulent signatures, even attempts to seize private land. Turns out, my case wasn't the first. She had a history, and the state had been building a file on her for months. The only thing they were missing was the final piece, and she had just delivered it by illegally breaking into my cabin. The silence was deafening. Karen's hands shook, her voice cracked. But no excuses could save her now. The Attorney General called in his team, and moments later, Karen was let out in handcuffs, screaming about how she was the victim. I stood at the window as the patrol car's lights reflected off the lake, painting the water in streaks of red and blue. For the first time in months, the air felt calm, still, safe. My cabin was no longer a battleground, it was a victory. And as for Karen, her name would go down as the HOA president who thought she ruled the lake, until she drowned in her own arrogance. So remember this: bullies thrive until someone stronger shines a light on their lies, and when they do, the fall is always spectacular. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable tales of justice served. Because sometimes, the best revenge is simply letting the truth do the work.